Hello everybody, it's Tim here again, here another movie review. This time I figured I'd do Halloween 2018. Yes, I finally got to see it, and I wanted to jump and do a review for this one as quick as I possibly could. Now, this film's got a lot of hype going into it. It did really well. It's done great. We're going to get another one. And we'll probably get a revival of Jason and Freddy as well, which is awesome. But just to focus on this film, now, I'm fair with every movie I watch, and every review is my honest opinion on every film. I'm not going to blow this film just because it's getting good reviews, and I'm not going to hate the film just because it's getting good reviews, just to go against the normal. Now, is this a good film? Yes. Is this a great film? No. This film is overhyped. It is. And I've seen some people backlash against the film already on the internet because they're like, this film's terrible because it's not as amazing as the reviews and some fans are making it out to be. No, this is nowhere near a terrible film. I'll go ahead and say it. From 1 to 4 stars, this is a solid 3.5 star film. This is a really good film. It is. It's a really good Halloween film. Third best in the franchise. Brief rundown, Halloween 1 is a masterpiece, a classic. It never needed a follow-up. The original film said all it needed to say, and this film doesn't add, it doesn't change my mind. The original film said all it needed to say. There was nothing left for that film to say. There was nothing else for that film to do. It's done. That was it. You can honestly just stop there. Halloween 2, a great standard slasher sequel, and yes, second best of the franchise still. Better than this one, yes. Even though this comes close to beating Halloween 2, or being just as good, it just doesn't have the better script. Halloween 2 is slightly better. And for me, I stop at Halloween 2. Even though Halloween 1 never needed a sequel, it didn't. Halloween 1 to me is the end of that story, the real story. But Halloween 2, for a sequel, caps things off perfectly. Even though the brother-sister angle was really stupid and didn't need to be done in that film. Halloween 3 is terrible. Even as a standalone movie, it's terrible. It's just pure schlock. It's horribly written. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, is once again a good slasher flick, but not needed. It doesn't add anything. It opens up an interesting direction with having Michael Myers' niece as the new killer, but they piss it away in Halloween 5. Halloween 5 is terrible. Halloween 6, the theatrical cut, is barely passable. The producer's cut of Halloween 6 is good. But it's not the direction the franchise should have went in. Halloween H2O is a watered-down Scream clone. It's okay for the climax. Halloween Resurrection is atrocious and still the worst in the franchise. Rob Zombie's Halloween is a good slasher 70s grindhouse flick, but didn't need to be made. There was no reason for a reboot of Halloween. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is terrible. Second worst in the franchise after Halloween Resurrection. Out of the big three, Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers has the worst track record with sequels. He does the worst. He is very hit or miss and mostly miss. This film, one of the problems with it is no matter how good it is, you feel like you've seen it before. What this really is like somebody watched H2O and said, you know something? I can do a much better job of H2O. This is like a remake of H2O, except done better. It's a much better version of H2O. It's done better. H2O is only an okay Scream cologne with a good climax. This is better. This is a better version of H2O. I will say, though, Judy Greer, who played Laurie Strode's daughter in this, Josh Hartnett did a better job. Judy Greer is not... Josh Hartnett was just kind of forgettable, but he was more central to the plot, felt like it in that film. Here, they try to have Judy Greer central to the plot, but she's just really forgettable and doesn't bring enough oomph to the performance. I'd like it better if she was just left out of the sequel to this. And then the girl who played the daughter of Judy Greer, she was good as well. She was good. Bottom line, the acting in this film is nowhere near bad. There's only one great performance, though, and that's Jamie Lee Curtis. She's the only one that's great in the film. And even her, there's some moments where she's not that amazing, but she is great for 99% of the flick. Pretty much she's the new Loomis, except they alter it a little bit to where she's not so much the new Loomis, but more like a Sarah Connor version of Laurie Strode. Yet the film ignores everything other than the original film, which is the only way to go with the franchise at this point. They're no longer brother and sister, which they actually make a joke about in the film. Like, I heard they were brother and sister, Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. It's like, no, it's just something people made up. That was funny. You get some funny callbacks to the other films in the franchise, like the doctor in the film who's like obsessed with Michael Myers. It's kind of like a nod to Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers with the cult and everything. But yeah, the movie starts out, you get like these two true crime podcaster type dudes or whatever who are going there to provoke Michael Myers to try to get some kind of reaction out of him to get like something cool for their channel or whatever. And they hold the Michael Myers mask out in front of him. He doesn't move. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't do anything. You like see him maybe turn his head just slightly, but that's it. That's all the emotion they get out of him. So I thought that was cool. You get it. You get like the fact that Michael Myers, even though he doesn't speak, he is thinking. It's like, I'm not gonna play you a game. I like that. He gets transported on this bus. His doctor is with him. Later on in the film, we find out that the doctor pretty much is like obsessed with Michael Myers, and I believe actually helped him out and helped him break out of the bus. I believe that's alluded to. He has this pen with a knife blade on it or whatever that he uses to stab people with. And I believe it's alluded that he helped Michael Myers escape. There's a cool scene where this father and son stop there, and the son the father disappears. You see his body later, I believe, and he's like really screwed up, like bent backwards like that. It's kind of cool. I believe that was him. And the kid like jumps back into the vehicle to try to drive away, and he like Michael Myers in the back seat like snaps the kid's neck. That was cool. I like that brutality right there to show you that this is not a guy to F with. And I like the fact that's like a much older Michael Myers. You can see him. He's got like a facial beard and everything. That was kind of funny. I like that. One thing I do like about this film is it's like people are all trying to understand Michael Myers. Like, he's human. We got to understand him. It's like, no, this is a person who's went so far away from humanity to the point of becoming just so psychotic. He's a monster now. There's just no humanity left. He just went off the deep end. And I like that. Like, the doctor keeps trying to understand him, and later on in the film, the sheriff like captures Michael Myers by running him over and could kill him. He's going to kill him right then and there. But the doctor like saves Michael Myers and kills the sheriff. It's supposed to be a twist, but they telegraph it too easily. They're trying to make you think he's going to be the new Loomis, but then they're like, oh, what a twist! He's a psychopath, and it doesn't work. And he's not really necessary to the plot. He's just there was no reason for him to be in this film. And he kills the sheriff, and he's got the granddaughter in the back of the vehicle with Michael Myers, and she's like, Michael Myers spoke to me, but she's lying to get him to like stop and get her out of the vehicle. And he's like, what'd he say? What'd he say? I bet it was Judith, his sister's name. And Michael Myers wakes up, and he doesn't even pay any attention to the granddaughter in the back seat, none. Which I thought was cool. He just takes his anger and rage out automatically on the doctor who's driving him. So that's kind of an insight into Michael Myers' mind, like he hates his doctor more than he does any of these victims. Like, he couldn't care less about any of these people. He wants to kill this dude. And of course she escapes and runs off. Another thing is in the trailers they try to make it like the reunion of Michael versus Laurie. Oh snap. And it's like, no, they're trying to make it like, yeah, Michael Myers is like obsessed with Laurie and she's obsessed with him. No, he couldn't. I hate to tell people, but Michael Myers couldn't give two squirts of piss about Laurie Strode in this movie. None. It's random chance that they end up going at each other. Really. What happens is he gets out, and he just goes on a random killing spree, just like he did back in the 70s. He doesn't give a piss about Laurie Strode. He doesn't even care. Doesn't even know, or it doesn't even seem like he kind of remembers her at first. He's just like going around killing random people. The only reason he runs into Laurie Strode's daughter, the only reason, granddaughter, is because when he was killing these random teenagers in his house, Laurie Strode heard about it, showed up, started shooting at him, he hit him, and he ran off because she was going to blow his damn head off. And sorry about this. And that reminds Michael Myers of her because she attacks him. And so he goes to hunt her down on her property, and her granddaughter shows up there with her friend. And that's the only reason he decides to come after her, because she comes after him. Michael Myers is the prey in this movie, which I know we're supposed to see as like a really good, neat twist. But at the same time, it makes it like Laurie Strode, like she's hyping herself up like he's going to come back for me. No, he doesn't give a piss about you. He doesn't care at all. So I just found that hilarious. That's stupid to me. They should have focused more on them. Another problem with this film is some of the characters. They make a mistake here they got Laurie Strode here, Jamie Lee Curtis, as the centerpiece of the story. The Strode family is the centerpiece of the story here. Not just Jamie Lee, but her daughter and her granddaughter. But they focus on the granddaughter a lot to build her character up too, along with her teenage friends, and it just kind of doesn't work. Because I'll say this, the horror in this film is done really well, but the comedy is not. There's some bad comedy here. There's like this fat friend who just like runs in and starts like kissing this dude on the head, and like hugging onto him and everything. He's like supposed to be like, oh, I'm so wacky. No, you're annoying. You are annoying. And at the end of it, when he gets killed, he gets like this comedy monologue on like Laurie Strode's lawn, where he's like, hey man, where'd you go? Like, because Michael Myers is like sneaking around him. Finally, Michael Myers kills him. I was like, thank God, please die. And he grabs him like and impales him on a post after he stabs him in the back. That was cool. Thank God he's dead. The only teenager I liked was this like long-haired dude who kind of looked like Jack White, the lead singer of the White Stripes. He was pretty funny. And him and his blonde-haired girlfriend. This is a really cool scene. Michael Myers like shows up in the house and she goes up there to like investigate, and he just like friggin' pops out of the closet. You see it in the trailer. He starts like stabbing the hell out of her. That was cool. But the problem is, after he kills her in the really cool tense build-up scene, the boyfriend like gets a knife and it's like, oh, he's gonna go up there and face Michael Myers. You know, I expected him to go up there and we get a really cool suspenseful kill, but no, it just goes away. And later on in the movie, when the sheriff shows up, you just see him like nailed to the wall. After all that build up, it's kind of just like, okay, he dies off screen. That was lame. Another cool thing is when Michael Myers gets out, I believe he's like in the back of a vehicle with one of the mental patients that was also on the bus driving it, and he stops at this gas station where the people who's got his mask, the two like podcasters or whatever, and he shows up in there and he breaks in to get the girl in the bathroom, and the dude runs in. He like gets in a fight with him, starts like bashing the dude's head against the bathroom stall. That was cool. And of course, after he drops some teeth in there from like a mechanic, I believe, who he stole his outfit, that was funny. He breaks in there and kills the chick. This was a really cool, awesome scene. The best horror scene in the flick. Honestly, the bathroom kills. And I love like his Pulp Fiction type Tarantino moment where he goes out there and like opens up the trunk. He puts on the mask and he like raises up and you like see the camera view from like inside of the car, like going back out the back window to his face where he's got the mask on, like he's trying to make it so epic. That was cool. Really funny in a Pulp Fiction Tarantino way. That was cool. You get to the climax. And another thing, there's some like forced political stuff in this flick I didn't like. It's kind of annoying. Like they want to show how liberal they are and to go with the times now of everybody being like more liberal and everything, of how people can, how gender politics don't really apply. And it's just, it's forced. There's one part in the movie where the boyfriend and girlfriend dressed up as like gender bended Bonnie and Clyde. That was cool. It was funny because it didn't feel forced. But because they do it 3 or 4 times, it feels pretty forced. They do it in this one scene with this little boy. He's like the one that gets his neck snapped. He's like in the car with his dad. He's like, Dad, I want to go dancing. I don't want to go hunting. It's like, why is this in here? Why is this here? Just to have an SJW moment? That's really low. That's really low of the writing. I'm sorry, it is. You did not need that. And then another scene where the dude like runs in, like the fat friend I was talking about, who like runs up to the dude and starts kissing him on the head, and he like sounds really feminine. And I know I'm not trying to make like a gay stereotype. Yes, some gay people sound feminine, but most don't really sound like that. They're just like average people. And I have nothing against gay people or anything like that, but it's just, it feels so tacked in there. And the dude like comes off as gay, and later on he's like trying to mac on the chick, Laurie Strode's granddaughter, who saw her boyfriend like cheating on her, and he never comes back. So I don't get that. They left him around for the sequel. I have no idea why. And then all at once I was like surprised. I'm like, what? You're straight? What? I mean, honestly, I thought the dude was gay. And it's not a big deal. I wouldn't care if he was gay, but it just comes out of nowhere. It's like, okay, we get it. Gender politics. It's okay for a dude to kiss another dude on the head. I'm fine with that. But does it have to be so forced? We get to the end of the film, and the granddaughter's dad is like retarded or something. Like Michael Myers is like coming there to the house, and dude's like sitting there freaking playing with a yo-yo. He's like retarded. Literally, the character is. And he almost gets like no service in the movie. And the way he talks, I know he's supposed to be comedy relief, but he just sounds like a moron. He's like, I spilled peanut butter on my penis, or something like that, or hand. It's like, I don't understand. Like, Danny McBride wrote this script, and the horror is great, but the comedy is bad. This is bad comedy. But Michael Myers kills like one cop and makes a head out of his, like it's a jack-o'-lantern out of his head. That was awesome. And he comes up and like kills the dad by like snapping his neck, I believe. That was cool. And the dad was just a moron. He breaks in there to take on Laurie Strode. And Jamie Lee Curtis, man, this is great. She whoops his ass. It's not as bad as the Halloween H2O fight where she just like dominates him most of the time when she's stabbing the hell out of him. This is more even, but I love the brutality of the way she fights him. Like Michael Myers is like trying to stab her and she puts him like a friggin' arm lock. She like knows martial arts and everything. And she's like gouging his eyes out. That was awesome. This was a great fight. And then Michael Myers throws her off the balcony, and then he looks down, and she's gone like he was in the original film. That was cool. That was a funny callback. That was well done. And the granddaughter just like barely appears like towards the end of the fight. It's like almost her character becomes almost like a non-entity. And they get Michael Myers in there, and Laurie Strode like puts him underneath the safe house thing that she's made. I did like this moment with Judy Greer where she's like, I can't shoot the gun. And Michael Myers like pops out because he thinks that she's not going to shoot him, but she fakes him out. She's like, made you look, and he blows him down. That was cool. He gets down in there, they lock him up, and there's like these spikes that come out that Jamie Lee Curtis has rigged. And before they get him locked up, he's like grabbing a hold of Judy Greer's leg. And the granddaughter grabs a knife that she picks up, and you're like, yeah, now she's forced to act as well and kick Michael Myers' ass. And I like the fact it takes all three of them to take him down. That's cool. And she gets the knife and stabs him and takes him down. That was cool. And then he gets locked in there and set on fire. But they do him on fire in a certain way with the camera angles where you don't totally see him engulfed in fire, to where you could say, like, maybe he made it out a back way, they want a sequel, which this does not need a sequel. Not because I didn't like the film. This is still an enjoyable film. The film ends with them like driving off in a truck, and you see like Laurie Strode's granddaughter with a knife in her hand. And what they're trying to symbolize is that now she is part of the violence chain as well now that the Strodes have been through, and that she's going to carry on the moniker of being the new hero in the sequels to take Jamie Lee Curtis's place. And it just doesn't work. That's a mark against the film for me that brought it down from 4 to 3.5. It just doesn't work. This character cannot carry this franchise. What they're going to do is they're going to try to make multiple sequels where they're eventually going to have to get rid of Jamie Lee Curtis's character. Either died of old age or killed off by Michael Myers in an epic fight, and this new girl is going to like take her place. Probably try to do some kind of trilogy where she ends up being the new Jamie Lee and taking him out. She doesn't have it. The character is just not helped by the writing enough, and the actress, she doesn't have the Curtisness. It's not there. It's not. And Judy Greer doesn't have it either. Judy Greer does a good job, but she's only serviceable. She doesn't have it. Neither one of them have it. They just don't. They work good as a team, but as a one against Myers one, it's not there. This character cannot carry this franchise. It can't. She cannot do it. Unless the writing increases majorly for this character in the sequel. It just ain't there. But yeah, this does not need a sequel because it wraps itself up totally perfectly with Michael Myers being killed at the end. Supposed killed at the end by being set on fire, just like Halloween 2. The whole message of this flick, like the story of it, is the same exact thing as H2O. Jamie Lee Curtis coming back, facing her demons, whooping Myers' ass, and killing him. It's a remake of H2O, a much better version of H2O. That's why it doesn't need a sequel, because that's what killed H2O. They gave Michael Myers the perfect ending. Let's force a sequel. You get Halloween Resurrection. It doesn't work. You cannot build up an entire story of I'm going to face my demons, whoop their ass, kill it, and then go, he's back again. I guess I failed. That doesn't work. It undermines the story of the film you're trying to tell. It just does not work. It doesn't work. And that's why the sequel to this won't work. If they try to bring back Myers again and try to force that in there, it's not going to work. It's not. This would be better. They need to leave Myers dead and move the story into some new direction with either some new killer or something. They need to do something. They need to evolve this franchise from Myers. It has to. Otherwise, it's going to die. It's just going to die again. They're just going to make a new sequel and then another one, and it's just going to grind itself into the ground. It's going to die. Sorry about this again. This is a long review. I didn't plan on talking about this movie that long. But I did enjoy it. I'll pick this up on DVD and Blu-ray. It's worth $20 to buy, and it's worth seeing in the theaters. This is a really good Halloween film. I know I've been kind of down on it because the reason I've been kind of down on it a little bit, sounding so much, is because it doesn't live up to the hype. It doesn't. But it's not a bad film at all. This is the third best Halloween film after Halloween 1 and 2. For me, once again, the franchise still ends at Halloween 2. Even though Halloween never needed a sequel, Halloween 2 is the best sequel you could have gotten. For me, it ends at Halloween 2. Halloween 2 is better than this film. But this is still a really good Halloween flick. And it's worth your time. So I'll see you guys again with the next review.